Glorious day to you, my friends. Welcome to day number 1 of being, becoming empty, and igniting your natural grace. If you don't like these words, there are links in the description to other positive words that begin with B and E and I, N and G, where for 144 days, we're going to explore spirit. We're going to explore our heart centers and spirit, the connection, how to connect with spirit, how to create with spirit, how to go with the flow with spirit. And we're going to be chanting 2 of 4 chants. So we're going to start out for the first 55 days, the first chant using the Mala of Joy, or the first part of the Mala of Ascension. We're going to chant the familiar Om Mani Padme Hum, and in the second half, during the last 3 chakras, 3 ideas of the Mala of Ascension, going to chant Om Ahum Iskatakuru Utakaryarashira Saha Ananiyarta. And each day we're going to start off. So here's going to be the format. We're going to call on the holy fire. We're going to immerse ourselves in the holy fire. One is a form of protection, but it's more of a, let's set our vibration and expectations. So let's do that right now as we invite and allow the holy fire to flow in, through, and around us all in every way and everywhere and every when. And we ask the holy fire to only allow in that which is for our highest good and the highest good of all. Simple as that. Because when we connect into spirit, there are so many different consciousnesses and beings that are out there that we can connect with on a telepathic level, that we only want to connect into. Normally, we would only want to connect into those of a more advanced intelligence and a more advanced vibration than we are. But we're going to, since we're calling on the holy fire, and the holy fire it comes from the highest source of consciousness. It has no ego, and it has no judgment. It is it always respects free will, and it's unlimited in power. In this highest source of consciousness, whether we call it consciousness or we call it heaven, we're going to explore spirit. We're going to explore the higher aspects of consciousness. We're going to explore who is God. And if the G word triggers you, I invite you to sit with it and explore. Instead of these ideas of there's this old man in the clouds that are pulling the marionette strings of all of us, we're going to explore our consciousness. We're going to explore spirit as it interacts with our consciousness, our inner being. Because our inner being is made of the holy fire from this highest source of consciousness. So yes, we naturally can interact with spirit, and we're going to use our discernment and the holy fire to filter out all that unwanted noise that is not going to help us raise our vibration and raise our consciousness, ascend into a better version of ourselves, our true authentic self, to say that. Yesterday, during the 1010 portal, said that the 3 chakras, I gave them Sanskrit names, they gave them Sanskrit names. And The first one is a cyan blue color. It goes from cyan on the outside into white, more for purity. And Rita, this righteousness, this cosmic order. But when we get to chanting, we're going to call this the cosmic order, the divine order chakra. It might be easier to say it that way, or the divine order aspect of the higher thought forms, of the higher forms of consciousness. Because we're going beyond the physical. And I would invite us to go beyond the ego and only interact with those spirits that are wholly benevolent, that have no ego, that always respect free will, our free will, and the free will of all, and those divine beings and consciousnesses that are of unlimited power. No matter how benevolent an egoic being is, does not matter at all. If they have an ego, this identity of self, then they may be into self-preservation. They may have an agenda, and we're going to avoid all that by only interacting with the non-egoic aspects of spirit, of consciousness, of divinity. In this Mala of Ascension, like the Mala of Joy, the first 108 seeds are the Mala of Joy. Okay? And then the next 36, I don't want to call them seeds or beads. They're more of markers or, yes, markers for pause and reflection. So Rita is this first chakra, for the lack of a better idea, because when we stretch it out vertically, and we're going from the first 9 chakras in the Mala of Joy, starting at the bottom of our Merkaba, Vasundhara, the Earth Star chakra, then moving up to Muladhara, the root chakra, and Svadhisthana, yes, thank you, or Swadhisthana, the sacral chakra, then the solar plexus chakra, Manipura, the heart chakra, Anahata, Vishuddha, the throat chakra, Anya or Agnya, the third eye chakra, Sahasrara, the crown chakra, and then at the top of our Merkaba, Vyapini, the soul star chakra. And then when we go beyond our physical energy field, we can interact with everything that is out there. We can communicate, receive messages, get insight, whether these gifts that are going to be unlocked or enhanced during these 144 days, balanced on the winter solstice, going to March 2nd to finish up. We're going to be spiraling up. Yes, spiraling. Yes. In the divine feminine fashion. We're going to be spiraling up the Great Pyramid, and we're going to be poking our head through, outside of the matrix, through the hub of the Dharma chakra. And once we're outside of this matrix, we're going to use the Eye of Providence as our focal point, as our our eyes, as we then peer down on, get a new perspective on this reality, this life, this matrix in which we live, in which we experience. Because the truth is, we're living outside of this idea of time, outside of this idea of physicality. But how are we living? There are really no goals with this series. Okay? We're simply going to spend time together. We're simply going to breathe. We're going to chant. And maybe at the end, we're going to journal on what we experienced without any judgment. We just write down how we saw it, what we experienced, and maybe some gifts that will be unlocked, our abilities of our inner being, of our holy fire, of our spirit, aspects of our soul. We may be clairsentient, clairaudient, where we actually hear things that other people claim are not here and not there. These sounds don't come from the physical, but they're coming through our ears and going into our mind as if we actually heard them from our ears. And whether you start channeling or speaking light language, if you allow it, if your inner being, if it's a part of your programming, if you have a desire for it, then guess what? It's a part of who you are. And we're working with our belief systems. This BE, the B part of being, is about becoming empty of who we think we are, becoming empty of what is this physicality, going beyond this physicality, going beyond our auric field. Most people talk about when we interact with spirit and those other beings that are out there, that we are interacting through our aura, but our inner being, our spirit, our holy fire within, knows how to access every aspect of what is and what is not. So this second chakra, or the second idea, so these 10, 11, and 12, the chakra numbers, whatever, these ideas of ascension, is one we understand, we're exploring spirit, and then we'll explore this divine action or divine transformation aspect of spirit. So we're going to pay attention we're going to observe spirit and the cosmic order, and then we're going to play with it, and we're going to see how we influence the changes in this divine order, in this divine creation. And then in the highest level, we will explore how this divine creation happens and how we can interact with it. And so we can get closer to this 0-point manifestation where we're thinking and aligning and becoming the vibration of what we wish to create, thus bringing it to us instantaneously. And then we'll stick our head through the Dharma chakra using the Eye of Providence. So during this series, we're going to be using the Fibonacci sequence. They want to talk about so much. I'm paring them down. It's just like we got to focus and we got to complete this chanting, because the chanting is the more important aspect of this. How this unfolds over 144 days, come back tomorrow and find out what unfolds then. Chant with us. Find out what unfolds today. Well, I have water. Water is life, my friends. Stay hydrated. Kasihita arahasaka shihisuta kasahanananiariaratata. And since it's all based on the Mala of Joy that we're familiar with during the last series, Shine, Niaryochohuto, and I'm not saying not to shine, because shining our inner being is our true authentic self. So we're going to go ahead and shine for the first 9, and then the next three ideas. We're going to call them in English, divine order, divine action, and divine creation. So we called it Rita, and yesterday we called it Kuruna. Well, that was really me that came up with the name, more associated with the color. It's not that Kuruna or compassion is a bad idea, but we, as humans, associate that with emotions and being overwhelmed with emotions or not dealing. And those are more of the lower chakras, okay? And they're not the part of the Vijnanamaya Kosha, the higher thought forms that we can get when we aren't overwhelmed by our emotions and we aren't creating selfishly. We're not acting selfishly, where we're acting more aligned with divine will. And we're not fear-based. But when we go beyond this life, and when we go beyond the ideas and the limitations of this life and this physicality, so they gave me this morning Vikara, which is change. Kara is change, but the Vikara is the higher change. It's the change that happens on the divine level, and it's, see, it's divine changes that happen because of your actions, your intentions, your sankalpa, niyara ashkarotokuru, by cultivating our sankalpa, by aligning with our inner being, with our divine truth inside, with our true nature is the simplest way of saying it. Niyara ashakoto, by aligning with it. We can see that every thought that we have, every action that we take, every word that we say, we can do it this way. Good thoughts, good words, and good deeds creates the reality. That's just translated. Creates the reality you prefer. So we're going to call it Vikara in Sanskrit, but they gave the right word yesterday. Rhymes with drishti, niyaryataha, shrishti, nisahaka atakarwatakarsa, which is the divine manifestation, it's the divine creation, it's the emanations of Shiva, of Vishnu, utukuryata araskata. So today, dreamers, what dreams may come. That's the title they want. What dreams may come is a movie from 1998 starring Robin Williams, Cuba Gooding Jr., and Annabelle Scotia. I think that's how you say her name. But it describes heaven and how one can create in heaven and viewpoints of hell. And the two main characters were so in love, they were so bonded that when he was up in heaven and he learned that she took her own life and went to hell, that he went down to hell to be with her. And that in and of itself saved her. I believe that there really is no hell. And this idea of hell is all created in our mind, that we're not worthy because we're judging ourselves. I mean, if we do something wrong, yes, judge ourselves and say that we did not do something, make amends for it. It's as simple as that. But I see that when we make our way to hell is that we forget who we truly are, and we get all caught up in our mind, in our guilt, in our fear, our shame, and our grief. The blockers of the four lower chakras. of the 4 physical chakras that are mapped to the physical elements of earth, water, fire, and air. And when we're stuck to this physicality and all these ideas that happen in this life, we can get stuck in a hell. We're in this downward spiral and we can get caught up there. How do we get out? Well, we press pause on it. We simply just breathe. We start by breathing. So why don't we breathe for a moment? Right then and there, that breath was a cleansing breath. And why don't we take a cleansing breath? Did we take in a big breath? Sip in a little more. And a little more. And then as loud as you can, just breathe it out. And let all that anger, all that fear go, that guilt, that shame, that grief, and let's continue to breathe. That starts the reset. And once we get up here and embrace, once we sit in our lotus, and that we embrace Vyapini, the goddess who is everywhere, and all that is out there. And we aren't limited to this physicality. We're not limited by our fears and more of our hopes and desires. We're not limited by our emotions or our fears of our emotional response, of what might happen. Or when we're so focused on what we wish to create, what I want, our ego wants to create, can we be divinely inspired? And if we're not trapped in our guilt, our shame, and our grief, and we're more love focused. And this idea of love, we humans have this misunderstanding of what love is. I like to think of God, the highest form of consciousness, the holy fire, and the non-egoic spirit, all as the same thing that is 100% accepting of who we are, never judges us, which is why heaven is always open for us and why our angels are always supporting us. And these ideas are really this divine love, is that our guides, our angels, and heaven, and God and the holy fire are never going to abandon us. As a matter of fact, they're the exact opposite, because they're proud of us. We are a part of this creation, this creative process, this expansion. Finally getting to it. Thank you. So, as a little experiment here, I invite you to close your eyes. And we're going to explore an idea of the highest form of consciousness. And in this idea of time, let us think of the original consciousness before the Om. And we're going to do this through our own viewpoint, through our own eyes, and with our own mind. We'll do this in our imagination. So we've already immersed ourselves in the holy fire. And again, we'll ask the Holy Fire to only allow in those thoughts and ideas that are for our highest good and the highest good of all. Now imagine waking up from unconsciousness. And we're going to not be in our human form. So these ideas of breath, and am I breathing, gravity. So let us say that we wake up and we do not know who we are, we forgot, or we just don't know. Uturyo, we don't know where we are, and all we see is darkness. All we see, in quotation marks, all we observed, all we know is nothing. And then a question pops in. The first idea. Who am I? What am I? Where am I? How am I? When am I? Maybe the idea of time hasn't been thought of yet, but questions arise. The first form. Niyorota atakara hasana niyara. And then we play a game. Am I this? So we think of an idea. Does not matter. So let us think of the idea as red or magenta. Okay? This idea, the first idea, Niyariyasha Hotoro, we have taken an action and thought. Kuturu utukatara aratakara niyariyata. And we ask the question, is this me? Well, to do that, we need to then think of who we are, and then we need to compare. So this idea of difference has been thought of. We think of an idea of red, we need to compare. And then we need to have an idea, something different. So difference. And this compare tool that we're going to use will observe and analyze difference and sameness. And this other idea that we're thinking of, we're just going to call it cyan for no particular reason. Doesn't map exactly to these three ideas of the three new chakras, Nihokotora, Atakara, Watatara. And this cyan, we will then paint a picture of who we think we are. But as the first thought forms, this idea of magenta, this idea of cyan, and this idea of comparison. How do we compare this magenta and this cyan? How do I know whether they're the same? How do I know whether they're different? In this comparison / integration, let us call it yellow. And then let us think of something else. Let us change this idea, this magenta idea. Let us change it, into something else. And let's evaluate it. Is it the same as this idea of who we think we are? And how do we compare it with the first idea? And how do we repaint the picture of who we are? And we cause a change, and we evaluate, and we reflect, and we cause a change, and we evaluate, and we reflect, and we cause a change, and we evaluate, and we reflect. Time and distance are simply an idea of difference and comparison. And the change is simply an idea so we can better understand who we are. And this idea of time and distance is exactly what this matrix is. And then we dive into explore. And then simply, we then create these different ideas of what is the self, what is a lifetime, what is a soul, and they're simply just a continuation of different ideas, or the same idea. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Kisahatara arnanatakatara esikatituru hutarayarata. Kasuhuturu utakananiarata. And these three ideas also map to samyama, sniarata, isahatakara, atakara, asyetukuruguto, which are the last three limbs of Ashtanga, this dhyana, dharana, and samadhi. Nyarihashkohuturu utakatakara arsananiariaratata. Dhyana is the focus. Isohutara shakata. Dharana is us holding this focus. It's the concentration aspect of it. And the samadhi is both of those combined. We're focused and we're holding the focus, and we don't judge it. We allow its true nature to appear. Haskanananiyariyara. And that's the process that we're going to be using. Iskahatiyariyarata. They map directly to the three color ideas. Isahatakariashahatuto. Isahatar. We could use those Sanskrit names for these chakras. Nyakatakora sakatarirara. But it doesn't matter. Sahiya Kuturu. Cyan, magenta, and yellow perfectly work. And interestingly, these three colors are the primary colors of media print, paint, because the main purpose is reflection. They absorb all colors except those that they reflect. These are the divine feminine primary colors, the higher chakras. And as we elevate our thoughts, as we empty our minds, and we focus on, we continue to hold the focus of an empty mind. By not trying. And that's all we're doing. And when we mess up in the chant, or when our mind, another thought comes in, like what's on our shopping list, or our to-do list, or what we're going to eat tonight, notice it. And that's just a reminder to, let's return our awareness back to our breath, return our awareness back to the chant, and return our awareness to what it is, nothing. And if anything else comes in, we'll write it down afterwards. So, we're going to call on the holy fire. We're going to start the divine flow. We're going to start with one Aum. We're going to chant Om Mani Padme Hum 108 times for 55 days. And then there's a Koshi chime. Instead of the word saying last one, I am not going to say that we're moving up through the chakras, because during this series, we don't want to focus on the chakras. We don't want to focus on moving past them. We want to breathe. We want to chant. And then when the Koshi chime goes off, there's one more chant. Then we're going to breathe for a moment. The music will change. I will let us know that we're changing the chant to Om Ah Hum. Read the description as to the meaning of this magical chant, where Om is the wisdom, Ah is the emptiness, and Hum, I am both. The wisdom of the emptiness, Nihukuturu. That's what we're going to embrace. That's what we're going to explore. Usakatiriara. And we're going to allow the true nature to reveal itself when it's ready, when we are ready, when our inner being is ready, when our ego is ready. But all these are judgmental ideas. So when the information comes, it comes. All we're going to do is breathe and chant. And we're going to chant Om Ahum 36 times. And again, on the last one, the Koshi bell will chime. The music will stop. Will come out of meditation. And they'll say something. I'll encourage you to journal. So let's get started. So I invite you to close your eyes. As we focus our awareness on our breath, as we breathe in, relaxing, and we breathe out, releasing. As we listen to the sound of our voice, the sound of our breath as we breathe in, and we feel how it feels to breathe out. As we feel how it feels to breathe in. And we feel how it feels to breathe out. Now let us focus our awareness on our heart centers. For in our heart center is the home of our holy fire. In every breath, and every breath that we take with intention increases and fans the flames of our holy fire, and thus increases our bright light. As we invite and allow the holy fire to flow in, through, and around us, in every way, and everywhere, and every when. And we ask the holy fire to only allow in that which is for our highest good and the highest good of all. And I invite you to start the divine flow, if you have not done so already. Let us take the energy from our heart center and move it up through the chakras, moving it up through Vishuddha, through Anya, through Sahasrara, through Vyapini, and up, through Rita, through Vikara, through Srishti, into the highest source of consciousness, which Rita, Vikara, and Srishti are a part of. Where there is no ego, where there is no judgment, where it always respects free will, and where the power is unlimited. It is only limited by our free will and our belief systems. And it's really good at breaking down our belief systems and rebuilding them with a divine perspective. Let us bring more of this holy fire, this pure holy fire, back down through the realms. Through Srishti, through Vikara, through Rita, and back into Iskatitiara, the realms of the physical, and into our physical aura, through Vyapini, purifying it, through Sahasrara, purifying it, through Anya, purifying it, through Vishuddha, purifying it, and back to Anahata, purifying it, and combining this energy thoroughly. And let us ground this energy effectively in purifying the lower chakras. Moving this energy down through through Mani Padme, purifying it, through Svadhisthana, purifying it, through Muladhara, purifying it, and through Vasundhara, purifying it. And imagine growing roots down into Mother Earth, down deep, deep, deep into Mother Earth, and wrapping these roots around the heart of Gaia, giving her a great big hug, and bringing back her grounded love, up through the root system, through Vasundhara, through Muladhara, through Svadhisthana, through Mani Padme, and back into Anahata, our heart center. Thoroughly combining this energy. Niaryachahatata arhikutoro usa naharyarakaha. Now let us turn over to our inner being to continue this divine flow without any conscious thought whatsoever. Niyatakahatara iskonononoto uruta harsa ayaka achara hisananata atita hata ara aryakahatara. And now on the out breath, let us consciously and intently push this combined energy from our heart center out from Anahata, out from our physical bodies, out of our auric field, and out into every aspect of our awareness, nihakatara aratasiyata, in every way, and everywhere, and everywhen. Ihoroto urhasa aryaranahatakasa hisa aryaratakahata. And again, the process for this, we will start off with one Aum, Isohukutotara, Ishahanatira, Isa Atakarearatata. We will be using the Mala of Joy, part of the Mala of Ascension, to chant Om Mani Padme Hum. And the Koshi chime will let us know when we're on the last one. The music will change. We will gently switch the chant to Om Hum. Sihakatari Aratata. Using the Mala of Ascension for 36 times. Niakatara Arnahatira. Hiso Uturu Unanata. Iriariatanada. And again, we will close out with one Aum Niarasha Ahekata Isananati Ariata Huturo. One last sip. And a breath in for Aum. And a breath in to chant. Hotur Usha Arhanatahar Isahakatatiri Aryarnahatata Urutu Urshanahataki Utahatar Aranahatikara Isahanataka Ishahatiti Aryarata Hasanahatakera Hera Ishkanahatatahiri Aryataha Ashahanataki Atihari Arata Kashi Isahakana Arahatakatitiha Ishahanatakahi Shahayaso Atmarutu Ursha Isahaka Ayara Hasanaha Ishahatakatara Arhanatakihira Ishahanata Arhayakatatira Ashahanataka Aheta Uturu Hukuchara Hariya Isahanataka Haradeta Ichahatarika Arkunoto Uruto Uta Isahakatata Isanahatakataha Achahatari Hetakarati Atkaranaha Iskuhuroto Uturo Tarshahe Ishahanataka Haratehita Asahatakarya Jaharashihita Uturu Uktara Arnaha Ishahaka Asihiarataha Itakatara Arnahira Asahakatayarata Ashukurutu Utu Arharakahiesanayara Uturutaha Ashahaka Irahata Hasa Anaka Ashiharara Isahatatiri Ariarata Hanata Arehe Askaharira Arita Anata Hatita Aturutu Uturu Ishahatakarata Hitara Achakaharana Hahe Arahasika Ata Aturuka Ashahanahasi Atihiriya Ratahatakar Shahe Akunoto Uhuta Atihitiaria Ratakanahata Ishuhuturu Utananate Karyarata Ishahaka Ara Isuhukuturu Uchana Isahaka Ariesa Atidiariara Utur Ukanata Ariet Karyara Kasahanaka Are Atihariarata Ata Koturu Unahatakariscatiaria Hashuhuturu Uknahatiriariara Asuhukunoro Atihitiariara Nahake Ishahatare Harieta Karonoro Ushukunoto Urakaha Atihiriariarakana Isuhukuturu Ushahatakare Iskananaya Ishahatigari Tukudororoka Ishahanata Isahatakarahti Takaria Isuhukuturu Unahatakarahatakitiaria Hasuhukuturu Kashahanata Garita Atu Roto Urahakanata Arati Kishkana hatara arakana herara. Atukuruto huto. Ashahatakatita arana. Iso toto rohoshkata kiri arata. Niri arata katita karata. Harukur shohotor ukashaya. Niri ariaraka tuhutur. Sehayara. Askana hatara arakashira. Iso hukutur nahadawara. Arakahasha ekayara. Nasa hakatara arakana haturo. Kusha hatata karahata kayarea. Hatur nahatukura shahe. Asahanataka titiariara. Haso hukuturu usha tara titara. Kenati hirara takai. Kusho huturu ukonana tiariara. Hasutoro takariara. Haso hukutara. Nisa hakashia sahata. Asuhukunor utur takadar shahegota. Harukacha atitakara. Nasa hakahashiara. Hatutur hukutur shahatur. Asakhanata karati hitaha. Atutukurushaha. Asakhanata karati hitaha. Hutara kanahayara. Ishkononoto hurotora. Isahakatar aranihira. Kasuhukuturu urshanahatita. Ita taharhatarira. Natuhuroto kurshanautoro. Atukurusha huturu huta. Isahakanata karatahira. Atukuruta horosha haswana. Atukara yararate. Ataharekara. Hasu ututu urutananara. Kunoto horotahara. Isaturu urkanahasahe. Atutu urunanara. Ishkanahatara arakahera. Atukuroto urashana. Kitiariarada. Haturo urohokasha. Haso natu guruto hatari. Nariariaraka. Atuhuroto urusha. Nitiariaraka nahatukaruto uruto. Isa hatari ershkonotora. Kasahanata karisa. Achuhuroto uruna alharkuta. Arharakashase isahataraha. Isahatakarururushaya. Kasa arahatara ikashanahatura rakayara. Harakwashaya. Arakarasa. Isahakanara bushaya. Hatakarata atitakara. Haturu ukunahara. Haturutu ututa karasa nahirata. Shahya kutura anahata. Katurata rehasa nahiro. Achkuraya. Isa hatata anata harashiyaka. Isa hatakara hatakashiyara. Iso honoturu. Ashahia kutura naha. Kisa katiti ariarna hatata aranaya. Iso hotoro ukuta. Atakarita anadira. Hasa akasha eso otoro uranatu kariara. Isha kanata atari. Isho hotoro utananatara. Kasa hakatara irakanayariata. Ista hatita haraha. Isa hakachuru urota arakaresayara. Niari arakaha. Atakahasa akashayarata. Kicho otor urana hatakurayara. Kisa hakaharsa. Iso hoturu ukunonoto urotaha. I chahatara arakanahasa ayakoho. Utukorota hatara aranahasira. Atura haya ata. Arkarsha haya kararihi. Hisahakanata atit karatara. Hishahaka arahase. Itokoroto otora. Atura okuna hotora arkahasa ara. Arkohoshaya. Atakarata atitakara. Haturuto utahanata karita. Arkorshayera. Arkorota achishaya takara. Itata atata hanata kara. Arkorshoro. Ushahanata atara arakahera. Itatata arakatirara. Hutoro ukanahatara arakanahata. Arkashahyasaa. Aturu urokanahatata. Hiso aturu urakanahatitaka. Atkorata atara. Isahaka atara. Ichoturu utanahatuta aratahera. Arkanata. Isohokotoro. Ichatata arakanahera. Achkorota arioroto. Isohokotoro nahati. Ashahata arakanahasaa. Ichahatara arikaha. Arkohorono otor. Ucho urota arata. Itakarana hatsa ayarata. Harsahayaratka. Ishohotoro okana. Ishahatata araharkarshahya. Asahakera. Isohokotoro utananarada. Hisa akatarita arashanata karoto. Isakachari aroko huroto arashanata kuru. Arvahatsa ayaka. Kasakanata ariata. Hitotoro orakana. Arhasa akatara. Arhokocho urotati. Niri ariaraka hasa akati. Hasohokotona natorotaha. Natakarar shahaya saha. Atukoro urohor shahaya sohoka. Isa atakarata atitakara. Hisokotona niri ariarata. Atukoroto araharsanaha. Atoro horoto anahaka ayasha. Isohokotoro utananata karearata. Isahakatururo. Kiriariarnahati. Atokoroto urota. Niri ariarata kaheshaya. Natakoroto uto. Hutoro urakanahasahi. Niti hatata arharaka. Atukoronoto uruta arashahayaka. Atukoroto arasanai. Kiti ariaranaha. Kitata arata kahirasha. Kichaharanata kahata huto. Hutukurahiesha. Atura arakanahasaya. Isha atakarata hatuturuna. Ichkaharira. Atura urokanahatuta. Isha hatardata arhargita. Uchiari arata hatikata. Hasuhukanata araharaki. Harkuroto uro. Narata atata atara arshehi. Hiso ukuturu uchana hatakarai. Harakaharna hayarara. Harkohochoro. Huturo atanati. Harakahayarata atara. Hatuto uruhoshana atakarardi. Harakarshahero rotokoro. Hushahayatar. Iskananatara aratikita. Ishkananata karato kudoro urhashayara. Hasorata atata harsha. Itoro Orunatara, Kasahakatara Aranahatakita, Ishohotoro Ukananata Ariarata, Arkorta, Isahanata Kareta Arara Shahi, Asahaka Atata, Arkohoroto Urosha Hayata, Isahkanata Arita Arishareta, Iriariara Hakatatu Horoto, Hushahanata Rita, Kishahatar Arana, Atur Urkanahase Siriara, Ichahatara, Nisa Hokotoro Otakatita, Saheka Ashaya, Sahakanata Arata Utoro, Kisakanata Arara Kisahatakara, Kita Ararhita, Arhosho Otonanata Harihara, Atakatata Arhatihara, Hisohokuturu Ushanahata Kareta, Ishahakatara Arakanihara, Arpohasonotoro, Isowahatara Arakanahayara, Isahaka Ashahaya Orotoata, Kanahatara Arahi, Atur Hurukata, Ishahakatara Arikatarita, Arhokosho Oto, Uturu Hukatara Arnahatati, Hatuto Urhutakararati, Hasuhukuturu Una, Arwakachiri Ariarata, Isoto Uruta Tunanani, Akahashayara Tatitahara, Konoto Horoto Utuhursha, Nihaka Ara Haratakitara, Isohukuturu Ushana Hatakara, Itaharata Atakara Hatata, Kuhuratana, Ishahayaka Atatudarata, Isahanata Atahara, Atakuroto Uturu, Kashahaya Atata Arati, Iso Ukutura Nata Arata Gisharana, Inahata Harihara, Hasuhukuturu, Niha Shayara, Ituturu Urokana Hatakarate, Nisa Atarashia, Atakahasisa, Atakarshaha, Hutoro Urona Atakarate Itakarisha, Hatut Urut Utunana, Hariararasha, Natakarata Atitakara, Hisotodoro Bayahakashata, Atura Nahatakuraya, Itata Arata Atara Arakahera, Ishkanarayara, Kuroto Urotaha, Isahakahashiara, Kitata Arnahariara, Ishkahotoro Urokanahatita, Ishahatatara, Kisohukutoro Urnahayara, Hasohukutora Hayata Arira, Nahakara Arakaha, Nita Ara Arkahiradata. As we take a few breaths, and the gentle reminder, the chant is Om Ah Hum, really slow, like Om Ah Hum. Kisihatata aranahagiru tukuru sahati ariaratata. Again, Om, Ah, Hum, and our breath in to chant. Ah. breath in for Aum. Stay here for as long as you like. Nihoroto uro shahya katara harnadi ariarta. Maybe pause the video if you like to spend more time in the energy. Nihoroto uro shahya arakayarta. When you are ready, Niariyashahotoro Uro Kanahatara Isahakatara Arsanatakita Hatoro Orota Anata Atar Hisotoro Arakanata Arata Hiso Orota Urotakata. When you are ready, slowly bring your awareness back to the here and now. Utiariara Kanahirada. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. Kasaki and Niariata. Invite in some gentle movements. Niariara Shahayotorota. And when you are ready, Niariar Shahatariarata. Slowly open your eyes and welcome in the new now. Utut Uruta Hisa Aya Arakanahati Tigariarata. Sihakanata arakananata ku uruta kata. So I encourage you, my friends, to journal about your experience today. Whether you write yourself an email like I do, whether you write it down physically with pen and paper, maybe you make yourself some voice notes. Maybe you write light script, or maybe you speak light language. It does not matter. I encourage you to journal about your experience. The only thing that they really shared is what I didn't mention earlier. Again, what dreams may come. One of the aspects of that movie was how they're painting their picture of heaven and doing their creations. But what they reminded me of is Vishnu, and Lakshmi. They are reclined on their serpent, Shisa. And one of my light language sayings, Harashisa, Nearyatako, or Harishisa, Nearyarshoturu Takata. Hari is one of Vishnu's names, Nihaka Shihakotura Atakariariatata. And although it means something else, but Vishnu and Lakshmi are reclining and relaxing on their mount, their serpent, Shisa, dreaming everything into creation. What dreams may come when we relax and empty our limitations and dream the possibilities of what we wish to create. So I invite you back tomorrow for day number 2. We're splitting this up into the Fibonacci sequence, where the first set is 55 days, then 34 days, and then we'll continue for 144 days. So I thank you, my friends, for sharing in my highest bliss. And make it a great day. Because why would you leave it up? to anyone else. Nihokotoro arasahanatiki shaya atakatata hatatira.